My sister and I came to know each other through one of her friends. At the time when I truly wanted to cultivate the spiritual path and learn about Buddhism, I met many kind people. Almost all of them were Dharma friends. But I do not know what karmic affinity the two of us had from countless past lives that brought us together. Not long after meeting, we became as close as if we were biological sisters. Her name is Mount. Although we were born in two different regions of the country, she always treated me like her younger sister. She often cared for me and checked in on me. When she learned about my circumstances, and that both she and I were raising young children alone, she cherished me even more. From then on, we became inseparable, supporting, caring for, and loving one another more deeply. I work in beauty and skincare, and also do massage and acupressure therapy for healing. She, on the other hand, is a nurse who cares for elderly people in a nursing home. Once, through karmic conditions, I donated a few small gifts for the elderly, and she brought me to the place where she worked. As I stepped into the nursing home, I quietly observed everything. Meanwhile, she gently cupped the elderly people's cheeks with a warm smile full of love, asking after each person's health, comforting them, and then introducing me to everyone. In my heart, I deeply admired her compassion. Honestly, I can hardly bear the smell of hospitals, let alone a nursing home. Yet she was always cheerful, caring, and wholeheartedly devoted to her work. She also told me that some of the elderly had been brought there by their families, some had chosen to come live there on their own, and some had even been brought in by the police after being found wandering the streets. At that point, she continued, saying that the owner of this nursing home was truly kind, generous, and compassionate, someone who had opened their arms wide to receive elderly people who had no homes, no children, no one to care for them, even taking in homeless wanderers from the streets and markets. Then she led me upstairs to the second floor, to a small Buddha hall where we paid our respects to the Buddha. She said, "When I come to work, the first thing I do is bow to the Buddha." That was who she was. Not only did she always praise the goodness in others, but she was also always sincerely respectful toward everyone, whether elder or younger. She told me that once a week, a charitable group would come to bring spiritual nourishment into the hearts and minds of the residents, comforting them, encouraging them, and helping them feel more joy in the life they still had left. In addition, every month, a group of living bodhisattvas would voluntarily come to cook vegetarian meals and encourage them to adopt a vegetarian diet. She enthusiastically shared many stories with me about the people and the loving hearts who had come there. After that, we entered the care room. There, an elderly woman lay motionless on the bed, her eyes filled with sadness. She could not feed herself, nor could she urinate or defecate on her own like an ordinary person, but had to rely on tubes. The sight struck me deeply. My heart tightened, and I could no longer hold back my tears. They just kept pouring down, and the whole room fell silent. Everyone turned to look at me, while my sister gently stroked my head to comfort me. Next, we came to the bathing room. Since most of the elderly there were weak and had difficulty moving, it usually took 2 or 3 people to care for them. I froze. My feet no longer wanted to move. My mind was in turmoil. Life is impermanent. After a whole lifetime of struggling and competing, does it all end like this? From childhood until now, this was the first time I had ever visited a nursing home. In a weak voice, I said, "Sister, I don't want to go any farther. I want to go home." She smiled at me tenderly, patted my head, handed me a tissue to wipe my tears, and said, "You are so adorable." Not long after that, she told me that she had cancer. Her spirit had clearly collapsed. I no longer saw her smile. But strangely, I did not feel sad. Instead, I felt a kind of joy, because I thought she might be able to return to the Western Pure Land sooner. I felt that she was truly blessed. But on the other hand, she felt that this was a punishment, an overwhelming trial for her. She remained deeply attached to this worldly life. She confided in me. "I don't want to die young when I'm still so young. I don't want to die early because my child is still little. And I'm afraid, what if I die and don't make it to the Western Pure Land, but instead fall into hell?" I felt that she lacked confidence. In my eyes, she was always a living bodhisattva. She always thought of others, lived for others, and helped everyone. So I firmly believed that she would be reborn in the Western Pure Land. I still remember the first time I gave her a massage. I asked her, "How many abortions have you had?" She looked at me in surprise and answered hesitantly, "One time." Then she continued, saying that she had already had it taken care of. I advised her not to use the words, "taken care of," but instead to sincerely repent and do charitable deeds, as she had already been doing and was still doing. Of course, the best thing is not to have an abortion in the first place. Not long after that, she took me on a visit, while delivering food supplies, to a place in the mountains where advanced cultivators practiced. One could only go there with great karmic affinity, because those practitioners had little or no contact with the outside world. She took the opportunity to ask about her illness, while I was curious to know what the lives of such cultivators were like. After returning from that trip, I dreamed that I saw two little girls standing in front of the vehicle she had been driving while taking me there. The next morning, I asked her, "Did you actually have 2 abortions?" With sorrow in her heart, she admitted it. Then she confided in me more. She seemed almost hopeless. She very, very much wanted to live. I could not bear it and said, "There is nothing I can do to help you, but if possible, I would take your illness upon myself." She scolded me. "Don't say foolish things. Whoever creates the karma must bear it." Then once again, the heavy state of mind of someone nearing departure from this world rose up within her. She became dejected and was no longer the carefree, innocent person she had once been. I felt heartbroken. I did not know what to do. I could only grit my teeth and watch her suffer so terribly. Then suddenly, a thought flashed through my mind. I had heard so much about the spiritual power of the Great Compassion Mantra, so I would recite the Great Compassion Mantra for her. Why not? I then made a sincere vow that I would recite 10,800 repetitions and dedicate the merit to her. If her illness did not heal, then the affection and sincerity I had for her would all be false, and I, as her younger sister, would not be worthy of being her sister. So I began to single-mindedly recite the Great Compassion Mantra, reciting by day, reciting by night, reciting before the altar, and even silently reciting while walking along the street. Not long after I began, about 1 week ago, September 19, 2009, I heard news that made me cry tears of joy. She had recovered. I was deeply moved. I thanked the Buddhas of the 10 directions and Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara for proclaiming the supremely miraculous Great Compassion Mantra. Thanks to the Great Compassion Mantra, I was able to help my sister recover from her illness. Truly, the Buddhadharma is wondrous beyond thought. I immediately sent her a message. "Congratulations, sister. You are a living bodhisattva. You still love sentient beings so much that you do not wish to leave this burning house of samsara, because you still want to help them. Then please continue to live on. May your wish be fulfilled. Namo Amitabha Buddha."